Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today for quite an unusual Shmeemobile matchup here for a BOTB drag race with my Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 up against the AMG G63. Now about the only thing these two cars have in common is that both manufacturers are from Stuttgart in Germany, but we've got Porsche's, in my words, ultimate sports car, 400 or so horsepower, manual gearbox, mid-engine, fantastic thing to enjoy, and then we've got the G Wagon, a bit of a beast, an off-roader. It just so happens to have a ludicrous amount of power, and today we've got the quarter mile to have some drag races to see which comes out on top, and I'm quite intrigued to see which way this is going to go. You might be wondering then, why this matchup of the Shmeemobiles out of all of the cars? Well, last time out, we had the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, the electric saloon, against the McLaren Senna, the hypercar, and it was fascinating. And I think this should be equally intriguing with the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 against the AMG G63. Two very different cars, and I think the instinct would say, of course, the Porsche sports car is going to win this, but I'm not so sure it's going to be that simple. Now let's have a quick run over the cars before we take them out for a drive. We've got the 718 GT4, the follow-up to the 981. We've got a 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6 making 420 horsepower, mounted in the mid behind the occupants. All of the power goes to the rear wheels through a 6-speed manual gearbox. You can now have the GT4 and equivalently the Spider without the fixed roof with a PDK automatic gearbox should you prefer, but manual is all about the driving enjoyment, even though it might be a bit of a hindrance when it comes to a blast down the runway. But what's fascinating about this then is obviously this is significantly lighter than the G63, which has significantly more power, not just a little bit, because this car has had a little bit of a modification, we could say. The Akrapovic sports exhaust, we've also had an upgrade with the RENNtech tune, and this car, rather than the standard 585 horsepower, is now running 730, as well as torque up to 1070 newton meters. Those are big numbers with all-wheel drive, so despite the fact that it is 2.6 tons, it should be off the line like a rocket, and that's where it's really going to be quite intriguing. This will be a bit of a challenge for me to get it off the line. That will fly, but will the GT4 be able to catch up? Now we're going to have some races, and then I'm also going to get some V-Box times as well, but of course with two cars today we need another driver, and I'm joined by Christian from BOTB.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very warm.
It is a boiling day, that means warm tarmac, perfect for the occasion.
And warm drivers.
Warm drivers, definitely.
I can't wait to see the outcome of this.
You're going to be taking the wheel of the G63.
I can't wait.
So you've got things the easy way, 9-speed auto. I'm a little bit jealous about that. I've got to get a manual off the line, which for a drag race, everybody's going to complain whatever happens that I can't drive, I'm sure. we'll get to that. So what I'm going to do first, I think, is take each car for a little run, see how they go. Then we'll have a best of 3 drag race. And then we'll get some V-Box times as well.
This is going to be fun.
Which way do you think it's going to go?
Oh, I'm going to go in the big corner. I think G63.
G63 upset of the GT4?
Yeah.
Let's find out. Before Christian takes the wheel, let's have a quick run in the G63 to see what this is like when you take it down a drag strip. Now I have had this car out on the Nürburgring and it was epic. Ignore the fact that we have a cracked windscreen at the moment. Thankfully that won't inconvenience things too much. And then we also have the V-Box performance touch device running as well, so we can get some data. Let's get this started up. It sounds so good, and if you open the valves, it sounds even better. Being a G Wagon, that clunk of the doors. Right, let's head for a run. Let's go for a very quick little run then to get a feel for the G Wagon on a drag strip. The doors locking, that mechanical clunk is fantastic. Now we're in comfort mode, but confusingly for a drag race, you actually want the suspension fairly soft. So with this, we are going to pop it, I think for this, up into dynamic there, Sport Plus, and then we will put the suspension into its comfort mode, because that gives you the most grip, the most traction off the line. So we have our little drag strip. Oh, that sounds so good. Gearbox is still in auto at the moment. We're going to keep it in auto in here, I think, for the run. But let's just give this a go, give it a bit of a launch, because to be honest, the G Wagon is fairly ridiculous. You don't expect it to be able to do what it can actually do. So let's just come to a standstill here for a moment. You need a fairly firm brake pedal press, because this doesn't have launch control, a bit of throttle, let go of the brake, and off we'll go. So let's give it a quick run, some throttle, let go of the brake, there we go. things get very mad very quickly, and then the braking we're going to have to watch out for as well. Let's go for a quick run then in the GT4 as well. Make sure things are warmed up in here. We've got the key that you insert physically into the side there. So for this, we will have it in the default mode. There are no sport modes or anything like that. We'll open the exhaust. We'll have it in effectively auto blipping, but completely irrelevant when you're accelerating. We'll keep the suspension soft as opposed to hard again. But let's go give it a test run. Right, manual, different story, different ball game to launching a manual. It's gonna need a little bit of practice to get this right. But when you're on the move, this car feels phenomenal. Of course, we're gonna get it up through the rev range today. An opportunity to actually do so. One of the big things people talk about when it comes to GT4s are these very long ratios, which mean that, well, second gear goes really very fast, we could say, but for today, gotta watch out a little bit at the end of our drag, but I need to give this a go at launching the GT4 and see if I can actually do it without effectively too much by way of clutch wear. Gosh, it sounds so good, doesn't it? Both of these cars, completely different sounds. So, lining it up, first gear. Wow, that's going to be really difficult. Short of sidestepping it, which obviously is not so good for the wear. This is so cool, right. This is going to be an interesting race. We're lined up then, Christian. Are you ready?
I am ready. And don't forget, if you head to botb.com, we have 2 car winners every single week. There are over 180 cars for you to choose from in the lineup. And the winner of the Dream Car competition would also receive £50,000 as well as their dream car. I could be surprising you, well, with a brand new G63 next week.
Okay then, let's have a countdown. And then, let's see what these 2 cars have got. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, it's a good start for the G63.
Look at the G! Look at the G!
Oh, come on!
I can't keep up with that.
This thing is unbelievable. And we're over the line.
Even if I had a slightly better launch, I would not be able to keep up with that at all. Christian, that thing is insane. You were gone.
I mean, it feels like I'm piloting a small 2-bed flat, but the fastest 2-bed flat I've ever driven.
You know what? We were off the line, bang in sync. I think I probably could dump the clutch and be a little bit more aggressive, but there's no way I'm going to catch up with the G. I want to try it again though, but still, it just powers away and it hunkers down. It's crazy to watch.
This is mad. This car is mad.
Well, let's line up, give it a second go. Technically, we were going to do best of 3, but maybe we'll just do all 3 for fun anyway, because I think I know which way this is going. I tried my best to cheat a little bit here and have basically no fuel in the GT4 because I knew which way this was going to go. It doesn't seem to be helping though.
Even a cheater cannot beat the G63.
Not this time, but let's have another countdown. Let's give it another go. I think maybe I can do a little bit better. I hope, fingers crossed. 5, 4, okay. 3, 2, 1, go! He was off the line slightly ahead of me, but struggled for grip.
It just pulls away. That is unbelievable.
I tell you what, while we're watching the G disappear, he said, I've gone into 5th gear, but it's not going to make a difference. I completely messed that up. I completely messed it up. Cost me about 0.2 of a second. But it was fun to watch the G disappear. So while I was busy laughing at myself as you were disappearing, instead of going from 2nd to 3rd, I went from 2nd to 5th, which does not help. Please refuel.
It must be fantastic driving a manual again, but then when you do miss a shift, you do feel a bit silly. Even in standard form, this car is amazing, and I can't believe that you can win one at botb.com with 50 grand to go with it. Unreal. This is where the lovely Porsche system says fuel range warning, you're running low on fuel, search for a petrol station nearby. Well, it's got to be in that direction, right? Yeah, I just wonder who will get there first.
You'll get there first, but you'll have a much, much bigger bill to fill that back up, believe me. The G Wagon is thirsty and it's a big old tank.
I'm ready when you are.
Third time lucky? Can I pretend to myself that's how it's going to work and I'm going to manage something?
I don't know, but I've also now turned my air conditioning off. Not that I'm sure that will make much difference, but any extra horsepower I can gain, why not?
I'm going to copy you. I'm sure at this kind of thing it makes no difference, but I'm definitely going aircon fully. Yeah, there we go. Oh, this is going to get hot quickly. Right, let's have the countdown. Let's go. 5, 4,
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, much better start for the GT4. But still the G63.
This sounds so good, but I just have no chance.
Oh my goodness me, this car should not be able to go that fast.
Oh, madness. I was ahead for about half a second. I was loving it.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you maybe a little extra second off the line, but still didn't manage to pull me back in.
And you know what? As fast as we would get, I don't know where the turning point would be. The G is limited to about 140 something miles an hour. This would go, I think, up to about 180, 190. I don't know at what point I would overtake, because it feels like you're just pulling away and pulling away. I'm not sure if you can still see me in the mirror when we get towards the end of the quarter mile.
If I look in the mirror, as you say, it looks like the Mercedes is just continuing to widen the gap.
Really and truly, it's actually amazing, because I had an inkling this is how this particular race would go, but I'm very pleased we've done it. How fascinating is that? The G Wagon is quicker than a manual GT4.
A 2-bed apartment on wheels is faster than your slippery snake.
And no joke, you can fold down the back seats and probably put a mattress in the back there and live out of the thing. Who needs a house when you've got a G63, hey? A very quick observation, in case you hadn't already noticed, about halfway down the strip we're using, there is a little rise in the tarmac, a brow that we're going over before we get down towards the far end, which does mean that the times we see will of course be ever so slightly slower than the best possible for each car, but when we're comparing them and going head to head, it gives a pretty good indication of how they can do. Well, the races very much went one way, but what I am going to do now is to jump into each car with the V-Box running to get some actual times so that we can see exactly what these two cars do. It's time for a proper timed test then. Let's give this a go, try and get the launch right and see what the quarter mile is in a G63. So, foot on the brake, give it some throttle, go. There we go, we're on the move. You wait for the power for a moment. 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. And on the brakes. 12.52 seconds we've got on it there. Absolute madness. Away we go. .48 seconds. So that's what we're getting from the G63. Let's try and get a time out of this then. It's very, very hard with the manual to do this. We need a little bit of revs and then clutch out and go. Quick shift. What are we going to manage in the GT4? Wow! 12.86. Whew. That was good fun.
And unexpected, actually, on my behalf. I kind of thought that might win, but I didn't think it would be by that much.
No, well, I have to confess, I did slightly set up this drag after doing the Taycan versus the Senna, because I thought it would be another one of these really quite interesting races that you wouldn't necessarily expect to have that result. I think a stock G63 would probably just be pipped by the GT4.
Agreed.
But in this, as you've experienced, when you're in gear and the torque just gives you that kind of boatload.
It's a boatload is the perfect way of describing it. It is unbelievably fast boat, that thing.
It pitches back. You're aware that you're driving a 2.5 ton truck, And well, I can tell you, because I've used it obviously to tow other cars in a trailer behind, because of how much power and torque it has, you're pretty much not even aware that there's something behind you when you pull out of like services. It just effortlessly glides. I think that car, with a heavy load on a trailer behind it, would still do your 0 to 60 miles an hour sprint.
Yeah,
like
I'd agree.
Decently fast hatch territory.
Yeah.
And obviously does it even quicker than the GT4. Now the PDK GT4, we should say this.
That could be interesting.
6-speed manual, the 7-speed PDK GT4 variant that they've now launched. Exactly the same car, shorter ratios, I think would go that 0.3 of a second faster than it would need to go to be in front of that.
The PDK gearbox is incredible, as you know. So
it's an awesome gearbox, but the GT4 for me is like that country road, Sunday driving, kind of like a day like today, basically, when the sun's out and you want a nice drive. And for that, it does it perfectly. If you're going to go for a blast down countryside lanes, you're never going to choose a G63. But if you want to lug around a boatload of stuff and go down a drag strip faster than a Porsche sports car,
well, I still can't believe that the standard one of these is amazing, and it blows my mind that, you know, we've had a few winners of G63.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And all of them have gone, I can't believe the performance when they pick up the car. They're like, this is unbelievable. So it's an incredible everyday car, and someone could win one. We have 2 winners, as I mentioned earlier, every week at BOTB, with the Dream Car winner also winning £50,000 as part of the Dream Car competition. And as Tim said as well, we've got loads of Porsches in the lineup. So the choice is yours, BOTB.com. I could be coming to surprise you with a brand new car next week.
Which is absolutely awesome. I've been with you a number of times to meet with some of the winners, to surprise some of the winners. And I also worked out, by the way, the first thing I ever did with BOTB when I met the team was over 8 years ago on a runway when I drove an Aventador for the first time in my life. I drove at 200 miles an hour.
And now the company is 22 years old. We're literally just celebrated our 22nd birthday. So to have you along for the last 8 years, it's been amazing.
Definitely, awesome fun. Well, thank you very much for coming, Christian, today. Thank you for driving the G63 for me in this drag race.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This has been fantastic.
Always a pleasure. And guys, there will be more as well, so stay tuned. The details for BOTB are all down below. Do go and check it out. Big thanks to them for supporting the drag races that we're going to be having on the Shmee150 channel. But that is it for this time. We will see you again very soon. Cheers.